All right, we're live.
Okay, everyone, just waiting to get things rolling here. Let some attendees roll in. This is, if you're looking for the Meteora Bootcamp Day 2, you're in the right place. Looks like the attendees are still rolling in here. Gonna give it another minute or so.
Hey, what's up? GMet. Well, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Jamet. I'm still working on my enunciation. I don't know if it's Gamet or Jamet, which one I like better.
Yeah.
I think you should say it with an Italian accent.
Gimet.
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 I'm seeing 22 on the attendee list here.
Yeah, we're up to about 300 on Twitter.
All right, should we see if we can hit 30 or just get rolling here?
What did we have yesterday, Rizab? Do you remember kind of where we topped out at on the Zoom session?
Yeah, we averaged whenever we started was about 50. I think we topped out at about like 59, 61.
Maybe we get a couple more minutes, Otto.
Did we do the
Are we live
announcement?
on X yet? Yeah, that an announcement would probably help as well.
Yeah, we're
We have
live on
not
X.
Okay.
done the announcement yet.
Let me see if Shane is on. Maybe Shane can post an announcement.
Did you consider heading up to sorry, never mind.
Wow, that's neat. Did y'all see that message in the chat? Someone has like an AI assistant that's taking notes for them. That's really cool. Never seen that before.
That's nice. Yeah, that is pretty slick.
Yeah, we've had that. I agree. It's super cool. I don't even know. Uh, yeah, Autopilot, that's the same one. I don't know who keeps launching it, but it's cool. Do you know? Be glad?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, I say we get rolling. You good with that? Everyone good with that?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, hopefully we'll get an announcement going eventually in the Discord. But welcome, trainees and everyone looking for the LP Army Bootcamp Day 2. There we go. This is day 2 of a presentation that we started doing probably a couple of months ago now. This is our 4th boot camp, and hopefully everyone knows by now that none of us are financial professionals, and that anybody that's participating in the boot camp needs to take full responsibility of for their decisions and take realize they're assuming their own risks. By joining us today, you're agreeing to these terms and all responsibility. And if you don't think you can agree to these terms, please just go ahead and check out. You're also going to be seeing some techniques and getting some tool tips that have been useful for other community members. And just remember that past performance is not an indicator of future results. To participate, you'll need first, obviously, to agree to the conditions that we just talked about, and you'll need a Web3 wallet or browser extension that supports Solana. I'll be using Backpack in this presentation, and it's readily available in all the platforms and app stores. You'll need some Sol to participate, and while you may not do exactly the same steps that we do today, it's recommended that you follow along and keep track of what your decision making and your is and what your positions are, so that you can submit your results later on, as we'll get into in a few slides. I'm Otto. I'll be your instructor today, taking over for Geek Lad yesterday. Really happy you're here. A little quick note on me. I've been in tech for many years, had a lot of roles, did a startup, was a founder, and had a successful exit. I was focused more on product development and DevOps, and later on tried to pivot into the business side of operations, and that made me exit the field for a little while. Also have a basically jack of all trades when it comes to all the IT stuff. You'll find me in a number of DAOs. Do we still call them DAOs? I don't even know, but a number of communities on in crypto. Spend most of my time in Meteora these days, but in the past have been a contributor at Lifinity and Jupiter, and part of the Saber DAO revival story. For me, why I'm in crypto, I think that something's been lost in the internet, and that it's more than about just financialization and the next form of e-commerce. But if we're really successful, we'll sort of change the incentives and the creativity and the structure of how things operate on the web, and make things more fair for folks to be creative and give less to the centralization data aggregators. I really love teams and competition, and hopefully you're here because you see something similar in Meteora and the Raccoons team. Raccoons is also associated with the development of Jupiter, and Solana combined with Jupiter and what you can do with composable blockchains and open source really kind of woke me up to the possibilities. And so that's why I call Solana home. And then I have some formal training there too. To get the most out of this session, make sure to use the Q&A if you have nuanced questions. The chat can get a little noisy. Please complete all the exercises. And like they say in the medical field, see one, learn, what do they say? Oops. See one, do one, teach one. So consider following along, practicing, lots of practice. Day 2 is all about getting in there and rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty. And then, consider joining the Discord, helping us out. This is a community-led boot camp. The Meteora team supports us, but spearheaded by Geek Lab. This is a community-run effort. And if you haven't already, give a shout out to all the instructors that are helping today. You'll see them up there on the panel. And this obviously is not just me and everyone. Definitely would not be happening without the help of everybody. Okay. With all the formalities out of the way, welcome. And here's our agenda for today. We're going to do a quick refresh on day one of the boot camp, and then I'll add a couple more kind of wrinkles to it. The intention today is to have a little bit more advanced session. Hopefully have some experience with DLMM already by now, having checked it out yesterday, and also learned a ton from the excellent presentation from GeekLad yesterday. We'll do more practice and go over how the current attendees can graduate. As GeekLad mentioned yesterday, you can participate just on Twitter stream. And also the video from yesterday has already been posted on YouTube. So if you're in a different language than English, you can get subtitles through YouTube, which is just super cool. So anybody can participate. You don't have to be in the Zoom. That's new for this week, for this boot camp. And then we'll do some community highlights. I like doing that. There's just so much fun and interesting talent in the Meteor Discord. Hopefully you can join us. All right. Any thoughts from the panel about you guys? Are everybody ready to go? Any questions I need to check out here?
LFG, man, let's do it.
All right. Cool. So hopefully by the end of this session, you're going to add some great tools to your Meteora toolkit, and also understand a little bit more about risk and reward in the market making part of finance and crypto, and also have a little more confidence engaging in the Discord. We would love to hear your voice there, and I can't tell you how much it's grown over the past 6 months or so, and how fun it is to see everyone having success in there and sharing their W's and their L's. Everyone stays grounded, and it's a really great community. And then of course we're going to be giving roles to people that graduate from the bootcamp. So yesterday, GeekLad showed us a list of great tools that you can use, and we're going to go over those as well as some more, including the great Google Sheets. Google Sheets has gotten so much more interesting over the years, hasn't it? The type of calls you can do and how dynamic it can be. It's basically a community run, or both back end and front end system for gathering and displaying data. And GeekLad's a pro at this, and we'll be using one of the tools that he made, which is a spreadsheet to show market making opportunities in this presentation. Continuing with the refresh. One of the things we went over are different types of strategies you can use to put a DLMM position in. And just as a refresher, one of the things you can do is set up a range and just hope that your price stays in a range. So in this case, this is a bit of an old chart, but for render at the beginning of this year, there was some really nice ranging action. And as you can see, the price is kind of wide here, but you could have picked any subsection in here and done quite well for days at a time. And this is the way markets work. They don't go in a straight line. They go up and down. And then one thing that you might notice is you can look at the previous cycle. So look left to plan right. And you'll see an area where, hey, last cycle we peaked out around $8, and this cycle is probably going to take a little time to get through that. So maybe I can put a market making position in here and take advantage of some of the volatility as we try to break out of this all-time high. And as is typical in markets, some whales will come in and knock things down a bit just to see if there's enough demand um, to actually support prices going up. And indeed, this was just a little fake out here, and price ended up rocketing higher. In terms of DLMM, you might be thinking, well, I'm just going to get out here because prices are mooning. I would rather just kind of hold spot. In other words, hold render. But there's other things you can do as well. Always keep in mind, and this is something that Ben has shared in a few community calls and also kind of opened my eyes to way back, probably 4 months ago or more, which is you can actually use DLM very effectively in a breakout because, as I mentioned before, price doesn't just moon like this. If you look at a weekly chart, it might look like it's just one fat, green bar. But if you get in a little bit more into the details, you'll see that, it goes up and down and up and down. And then there's a little area where it pauses and so on. So for your first quiz of the day, based on your understanding of DLMM and your everything that you learned yesterday in boot camp, how would you pick a strategy? What strategy would you pick for something like this, some sort of breakout scenario? Can we post that first poll?
Yeah. All right, poll is up.
Thank you. Cool. So just take a minute and answer that. Let's let those roll in here just for a minute before I move on to the next slide. Looks like we're up to 43 attendees. Awesome. Welcome, everybody.
And the poll responses are trickling in. We're up to 72% participation, 74%. Gonna hold off on saying anything about the results. I don't want to influence the results. All right.
Yeah, humans being what we are, we definitely are susceptible to suggestion, aren't we?
Yes, absolutely. All right, we're at 81%.
Cool. That's probably good. I don't want to pause it too long.
All right, I'm gonna end the poll, and then let's share the results here. And unfortunately, we can't see the results on your screen share. So I'll just kind of read down the list. So, and actually, I'm going to read the poll here for the folks that are watching on Twitter. So we've got a strategy selection here. Our first choice is deposit in dynamic pools. Responses, we had 11% that voted for depositing dynamic pools. Second choice was just hold Solana, and we had 11% on that response. We had the next choice is trailing DLMM position. We had 40%, and that's our highest choice there. So 40% for trailing DLMM position. And then the last choice was all of the above, which is our second highest. We had 37% there for all of the above.
Yeah. Yeah. So really clustered at like 77% for the last two, for the final two, C and D. What I love about those answers is it to some degree reflects people's individual style, because in my opinion, there's no wrong answers here. It just depends how you view the market and what you're seeing and what your mindset is going into a position, because they'll all work, right? Meteor's dynamic pools are great for a situation like this. Holding Sol works because that's kind of your benchmark, your bogey for being in the Solana ecosystem. Like if Sol is ramping, you need to outperform that, unless you're farming points, of course. And then there's the trailing DLMM position, where you can drop in a one-sided position either in USDC or Sol or whatever denominator, and as price pulls back into that denominator, you'll be making fees and points, of course. So they all work, and it's a matter of what you want to do that day, or in your position, or what your general strategies, or what strategies you tend to gravitate to as a market maker. Great. Let's see, check the questions. Yeah. All right. I think that was all I wanted to say there. Cool. Continuing on with the refresher section, the two strategies I just wanted to add that tend to be pretty popular in the community, possibly because Ben's talked about them before, but also because people are busy, and usually crypto is a side gig. And in general, when you want to be in the markets, may not coincide with when markets are moving. And so a popular one is the coffee time strategy. And this is where you go into a pair that's established, like a very high volume pool, like a Sol USDC, and you've got 45 minutes between meetings or for lunch, and you've got a wallet where you just want to earn some fees and maybe pay for your espresso that day. The way you want to approach this, in my opinion, is take a quick scan for what the market conditions are, and decide if you want to be in a faster moving pool. And as we learned yesterday, that means you might need to widen your range a little bit if the markets are moving faster, so you don't just get whipsawed out of your range. Or if the market's moving slower, you can have a tighter range, which means a lower bin step. As we learned, the bin steps correspond to the number of basis points for each of the bins. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about there, no problem. Just maybe review the session from yesterday again. Yeah, I think I got that right. Okay. So notice the difference in the returns here, significantly different. This may have had something to do with somebody pulling out capital, but sometimes it's the result of markets moving. And in this situation, you'll notice the two I selected here both have the same fee, only the bin steps are way different. And the reason for this is typically dynamic fees, but not always. And there was a really good online live demo from the April 21st session where Geeklad and I traded Gummy, and you'll see some really interesting divergences in the rates of return for these two pools. And in that moment, there was no massive change in capital, so it was just markets moving, and how typically Jupiter, how the trades flowed into the pool. All right, and then a couple more to add to the list of tools. The correlation matrix, brought to everyone's attention by Clamato. This one can be used to identify pairs that are highly correlated and trading in a range. So in this case, at the last session, for example, you'll see Jupiter and Sol are highly correlated, this means, just as a refresher, in case folks don't remember, correlations go from -1 to 1. At 1, they're highly correlated. In other words, the prices tend to move together. At -1, they're anti-correlated. So one goes up, the other goes down. And at 0, they're uncorrelated. So there's not a lot of statistical match between the two. And you can see Jupiter was highly correlated with a number of assets, but in particular Sol. How did that look on the chart? It looks like what you would expect. It's ranging and kind of flat, because as one goes up, the other goes up, one goes down, the other goes down. So the ratio of the two tends to be the same. So one way you could have traded this was drop in a range, and that's what I did here. You'll see this is a 4-hour chart. I came in this area, I think, yeah, somewhere around there. And got into a little trouble here, but basically had, a couple of weeks of ranging. And of course, one of the things you'll realize quickly as you're doing DLMM is when there is a highly correlated pair, the pros tend to come in, get highly concentrated, and just drive the return over TVL, drive the percent returns down. So you end up needing to stay more concentrated and keep an eye on things and go into lower bin step pools. But in my opinion, that's fine. This is just one position of many trades that you'll be making as a market maker. And in some situations, you'll want to go with a smaller size and higher volatility pool. And in some cases, you'll want to just hang out in one of these highly correlated ones that have slightly less return. Doesn't have to be all in one, or as Geek Lad discussed yesterday, try to think about it as a business, try to think about it as having inventory or not, and maybe move out of the kind of YOLO mindset of a lot of the meme coin trading. Cool.
Yeah, they're auto.
Yeah.
I would also like to point out that whenever the markets are moving quickly, one of the biggest risks in these lower bin step pools is if your assets Jupe and Sol, if these end up being highly correlated, you actually don't miss as much token upside if they both end up pumping. So if this token was ending up paired with USDC like instead, it would actually be sold off at a quicker rate. And if your tokens are like pumping, you would want to realize the maximum upside. So using a highly correlated pair combined with a lower bin step can also help mitigate some of that risk there.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually got a chart later on that highlights that. I'll try to remember that comment. Thank you. Oh, actually, yeah, here it is. Yeah, so this is exactly what Rizop was talking about. This range here was about 3.6%. And if anyone remembers, Sol moved like 5% on this day. I forget what the news was on the beginning of May, but we had a massive rip. And you can see here, because we had Jupe denominated in Sol and they were highly correlated at the time. Correlations can break down. It's just a statistical phenomena, right? This stuff can change over time. Markets are dynamic. But at the time, they were highly correlated. And you can see here, this bar is less than 3.6%, well under, right? And that's exactly what Rizop's talking about. So you can avoid getting in divergence loss because you're in a correlated pair. And that's why you're getting a little bit less percent return, probably. Markets are really great at smelling this stuff out. On the other hand, you're not going to get rugged. So keep it in mind. All right. And this is a new one for this boot camp. I call it the trim, just a silly name, but the idea is keeping with the notion of having a market making business. There's some periods of time where you'll want to, well, you'll have your pulse, you'll have your finger on the pulse of the market, and you'll feel like I have a bullish bias here. Prices are down. I'm going to add some inventory here. And your inventory are these token tickers. In this case, last year seemed like Bonk was underwater, but you wouldn't have needed to accumulate it a year prior like I did. You could have done it just a few weeks earlier. And the idea here is, again, shout out to the Discord. People are posting tips like this all the time. I'm just focusing on this one because it happened to be clear to me. So I wanted, so that I can explain it most clearly, but there's a lot of great info in there. May 22nd, here's what the chart looked like. So I'm reading this market, seeing that Solana just ripped, and a lot of the other assets are not keeping up with Solana. So you may decide, hey, I just want to stay in Solana. That makes a ton of sense. In my case, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll exit to Solana a little bit because there's some assets that are outperforming. In other words, Bonk. So I set up a preliminary range here, and I was like, I'll just let a little bit more go in the case that Bonk continues outperforming. Hopefully that makes sense. And then what happened on the 22nd? Well, that was this day, right? So always be kind of keeping your eyes and ears open for market moving events like this, and how you might be able to position yourself to be using those events as tailwinds in your sailboat. Okay, so how did this turn out? This is 5 days later. So obviously it worked quite nicely. After it broke out of this preliminary range into the higher range, I believe this is a 4-hour chart again. I went ahead and just closed this lower one, having converted it to SOL. And then in addition, at this point here, when things were clearly in my upper range, I went ahead and exited half of it and tightened up the range. Wasn't necessary, but I just felt like maybe I'll take some out and accelerate my the rate I'm generating fees by tightening up the range with that half remaining. And I think I basically tightened it up by half as well. So yesterday, Geeklad went over how you can do this, and the ease with which DLMM makes this possible, and the Meteor system makes this possible. And the thing to remember here is, as a market maker, you want to be paying yourself a little bit. You know, this stuff isn't easy, and you're going to have some L's. So make sure you're giving yourself a little pat on the back once in a while, take some profits, possibly even putting it aside as you go along, just to your mentality, just to protect your mentality, because that's the most important piece of a lot of this. Is how your mindset is going into these trades, into this market making activity. Cool. And then I then a day later posted a follow-up to my May 22nd, let it grind for a week. And not only did I or can you exit these positions, but you don't necessarily just have to go to Jupiter and get out. You can drop a position in and get paid to exit your position. I picked up an extra 7% on this one over a week. And that's kind of how it ended up the next day. And interestingly, this ended up coming back down here to the bottom of this range, which from a technical analysis perspective kind of makes sense, because you got this massive 1-day bar or 4-hour bar, and prices love to retest. So it was retesting this breakout zone here. Cool. So that's the chill. I have the receipts. I'll refer to this tool in the future, but that's unreadable. But just the takeaway here is, remember this, sometimes the market making looks like investing if you kind of zoom out enough, and your edge may be different from other people's that are showing some really successful receipts in the Discord because they were working Mother, and Pepe or something like that. Remember that some of that stuff might be a bit of survivorship bias, people posting wins, and you don't necessarily know how many L's they had. And don't get into the FOMO game. Pay attention to what your edge might be and how you can be successful and continue growing as a market maker. And here's a zoom in on that position. Started with decent amount, and then got an extra 7% over 5 days. And this isn't annualized or anything. And then of course this is quite higher because it was an exiting position, so sold on the way up.
Otto, that's a great point that you make, and I think in terms of survivorship bias, right? I think there is a lot of that, and I think it's
It's all over
important.
crypto, that's for
It,
sure. I
it,
feel like
it,
this community is a little better at it, but yeah.
yeah, it really is, and I think it's just as important for people to post losses as well as wins, right? Because you know you can really learn a lot from losses. You learn a lot more actually. In my opinion, I think you learn more from losing than winning because a lot of times you win and it may be that you just got lucky, right? Especially if it was all because of price action and capital appreciation, right? In my mind, a win is where you really, really print a lot of fees relative to the capital you put in, regardless of whether the price went up or down. In fact, if the price went down and you printed a lot of fees, enough fees to overcome your impermanent loss, that to me is a great win, right? Versus, the price of the asset just mooned and you didn't print a lot in fees, but your capital appreciation was really big. To me, that's more luck than really true market making skill, right? You benefited from the fact that the underlying asset really went up in price, and you didn't really print a lot in fees. So that I think that is important to try to focus in just as much on losses as wins and learn from your losses. Figure out, all right, what did I do wrong here? Why did I hold on to the asset too long? Did the volume really tank and I was holding the asset when volume went down? Because really the important thing is that you maintain high volume. If you're in a pair, regardless of whether it's going down, if there's enough volume, you're going to have enough fee. You're going to be able to print enough fees to overcome that impermanent loss. So yeah, I think it's great to focus on losses just as much as it is to focus on wins.
Especially for us in this boot camp, right? And for as you're beginning, it's all about learning.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I,
Thank
I
you.
think maybe for future boot camps, maybe we should, let's see if we can find some old mistakes that we made and ones that we learned from and maybe put some of that into the decks here because I think that would be great for people, to demonstrate, what, we're not perfect. We lose sometimes and we learn from those mistakes and I think it's good. It would be good if we can share some of that with the community as well. And
Yeah, well, we might be demoing an L later today.
there you go.
I mean, we've been pretty lucky, fortunately, so far, in our lab demos. But yeah, all right, yeah, good feedback. That's a good idea. I like that. Not too much though, man. No losers here. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, not too much.
Um, yeah, always stay positive, right? Um, okay, here we are in the agenda. Got another poll for you, but before we do that, let's talk about graduating. So, as mentioned in the rules at the beginning for graduating the boot camp, you're going to need to demonstrate DLMMing for at least an hour in your position, whatever chosen position. It doesn't have to, with 0.6 SOL, it doesn't have the position doesn't have to exactly equal 0.6 SOL, but we want to see that you took some risk and you stayed in for a while and that you found some success. It, if you submit a results that were from stable pairs or stable coin pairs like USDC, USDT, or whatever Sol, Jito Sol, that won't count. So you'll have to resubmit, and we're not going to pass you. You have to obtain positive P&L for at least an hour, can be more. And then we'll get into Alex's Vercel app, but you'll need to post your transaction there. And then they'll submit the results from that app into the graduation exam form. And I'm gonna assume everyone can access this QR code. I don't think I actually have it in text, but if someone wants to post it in the chat, that would be great. Cool, I'll pause
Yeah,
there.
I can
Let
drop it in.
folks scan this. Okay, thank you.
We did get a question about someone who's in an open position with USDC UpRock. If
Yeah,
you,
that should be fine, right?
well, I would prefer that you guys don't use existing positions. Let's open a new position, right? Because,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, we want you guys to, as Otto said in the beginning, right? You need to practice, right? And you need to perform actions, and we want you to do that today, right? We want you guys to follow along. We want you guys to open new positions. So for submitting for graduation, make sure it's also a new position that was opened, you know, during the boot camp today or afterwards, right? So you guys don't have to do this live while you're watching the session. After we finish today, go and create a new position, open it up, and then submit that for the graduation. We don't want stuff that you did a week ago or yesterday. We want you to practice, 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 right? And do it today.
All right. I think that's probably been up long enough. Okay. Another poll. So heading towards the tail end of the slides here and getting into the live demo, and in order to facilitate that, let's get some feedback from the audience on what type of pool might interest you for getting some so-called expert demo here. Can we drop that next one, please?
Sure. Give me a second. I was answering a question. All right, here we go.
Thank you.
All right, poll is up. And for the benefit of the folks watching on Twitter that can't see the poll, so the poll question is DLMM selection, and our choices are a trending market pair like Tensor USDC, a meme coin pair like Pepecoin Bank, or a high volatility pair like Mother Soul. And we've got about 56%, 60% participation. Answers are
Okay,
still loading.
I'm gonna let those roll in and do a couple
Yeah,
more slides in the meantime. Hopefully this doesn't mess with people. Moving on to community highlights here, and we'll come back to the poll in a minute. I'm just gonna let those results come in. The goal here with the boot camps and also generally for Meteora is to have the best market making community in crypto. We want you to join and add your voice, make things better, improve the community, and help bring liquidity to Solana, generally speaking. So far, we've had 142. This is a bit of an estimate here. Graduates from, well, actually, don't know where the graduates came from, but the attendee countries were 41, and we've had in excess of 2,000 folks live streaming from Twitter, and of course, way more than that have since also watched the recordings. So, earning while learning. And then, actually, before I get to this, should we do the results? You glad, or should we let them roll in a little more?
yeah, I think we're probably good to release the results here. We got 83% participation. Let me share our results here. So
Cool.
we had 35% voted for a trending market pair like Tensor USDC. We had one person vote for Pepecoin Bank, and our winner, and no surprise to me. I figured this was going to be it, but we got high volatility pair like Mother Soul. So we've got another degen group here today, it seems, Otto.
Yeah, interesting. It's like it's an interesting 2/3, 1/3 split here, isn't it? Okay, well maybe we can sort of capture. I mean, sometimes the high volatilities require a trending strategy. So we'll try to, as we do our selections, we'll try to accommodate both groups.
Sounds good.
Thank you for doing that. Um, okay, so continuing on with the community highlights. We talked about this one at the last boot camp, but did not highlight it. So shout out to Geek Lad. But wait, there's more. So he's been busy and gotten some help from the Meteora team, and there is now a section in the Discord that receives updates. They're triggered by community members, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're triggered by community members, and you'll see the results in here. We'll get into it. Check out these commands. I think there's only 3 actually, but they're super cool. The profit command, by the way, will not display your results to the whole community. They're private. And then
By
another community member.
default, it will add them to
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, by default, it will add them to the leaderboard though. So,
Okay.
but there is a parameter you can add to the profit command to prevent it from adding it to the leaderboard if it is one of the top positions on the leaderboard.
Okay, yeah, if you're fully anon, yeah, and see again,
Yeah.
see the pin messages in that channel for the details.
Yeah.
And
There's actually quite a few different commands. If you do
yeah,
/help, yeah, you'll see
yeah,
all the different commands. Yep.
awesome, yeah. Thank you. And again, like we want to celebrate the wins, but that leads to some survivorship bias and whatever. I've said enough about that. But also this enhancement of the tool that you worked on by Foxtrot was a fun discovery for me this week, and you'll see you can find all that in there's another new channel that Shane announced called LP Army Sharing. I think that was just this week at the during the community call, where you'll see a lot of the tools that the community has developed. And that tool from Foxtrot, I mean, I think it's just a really cool skin using this Looker Studio feature. I've never used this. Have you seen this before,
Yeah.
Geeklad?
Yeah. Looker
Yeah, it's
Studio is
neat.
like
I mean,
a
it's just
Google
clean, right?
bot.
It's just a little more
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah. Um, I think these are links, but the rest is not dynamic. Just makes it easy to share or view.
Yeah, Foxtrot was actually the one that sort of inspired me to create the Discord bot. He took my Google Sheet and built a Google bot, sorry, a Discord bot out of it. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do the same thing. And so I basically took my code from the Google Sheet and built a Discord bot, and I open sourced it as well. So if anyone has suggestions for the Discord bot, definitely post them in the Discord, and I'll be glad to see what I can do to incorporate it.
That's so cool. All right. I'll zoom this just so folks see it. It's a screen grab of the way the leaderboard looks within, actually, I think I generated this, but it's within whatever channel you're in. And then, oh yeah, one thing I
There's a
wanted to
couple of different
highlight
ways you
here.
could do it. You could do like degen, and so this is non-strict, right? So this would be
Yeah.
sort of like
Oh, I'm
your
sorry. This is not the leaderboard. Yeah, this is
yeah,
just a results spit out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so this would be like your degen, and this is from the degen command. You can also do /strict, which will show you only tokens that are on the strict list. And then there's another one that's even a bit more restrictive in the parameters, which is /blue chip, right? And that'll just give you stable pairs. and also LSTs, liquid staking tokens, like Infinity and Jupe Soul and things like that.
Yeah, for chill mode. Awesome. And then I had two hidden here. So this is the leaderboard.
There you
Um,
go.
and then I guess one thing I just wanted to show here, less than the wins, is it's kind of understandable that you would end up seeing smaller positions with large percent wins, because these are probably averaged among some L's, right? But it's only highlighting the W's because it's a leaderboard, which is fine. It's awesome. It's really fun. But just keep in mind, you want to play around with Gen or Soul. Maybe keep your position smaller. You want to be dumb with Soul dumb. You don't have to put $500 into it, and you can still do really well, right? So I don't know. I wanted to call that out because folks, I feel like the YOLO crowd gets a little too much press. I just wanted to highlight that you can control your um, if you're as good a market maker as you are going to become eventually, you can pace yourself basically.
Yeah, and one suggestion I've received
Yeah,
is maybe we show a leaderboard for total dollar profit and not just percent. So I've got all the data, so it's certainly possible. I think I may end up
yeah.
doing that this weekend if I have some time.
By the way, shout out Jay Gills. He's like top. He's got like 4 on the top 10.
Yeah, Jay Gills is killing it there.
That's awesome. When dead, he's still trading when dead. That must be a while ago.
Well, yeah, it was a while ago. So and that's one thing with
Okay.
this, right? So you can go as far back as you want. So you know, you guys should have some fun with this. Jay Gills actually wants to see somebody, post some positions where he won, where people have won even more than he did. So, and we do have a question on how to get included in the leaderboard. So basically, when you run the profit command for a position, and basically to do that, you do just slash profit and then your transaction ID. By default, it'll add it to the leaderboard and there's a database that sits behind it, right? So if your percent profit is going to make the top of the leaderboard, then you'll appear on the list here. And if you're using the profit command and you don't want to be posted on the leaderboard, there's also a parameter you can use to prevent it from posting to the leaderboard.
What is the database? Is it the sheet?
No, no, I just have like a little SQLite database behind it.
Cool. All right. I think I covered everything I wanted to there. And of course, how could we leave boot camp without one more shout out to Alex, massive dub, for helping us out with this PNL thing and making the graduation for us so much easier to manage. I do think there's some pretty cool stuff in the spreadsheet. I want to make sure that gets posted in the tools, community tools section again. But because there's a second tab in that, if you're new to market making and you don't understand, you want to get an intuition around the numbers behind divergence loss or impermanent loss, there's a second sheet to the Google spreadsheet that Ben shared that gives you a little bit more intuition behind the numbers. But at any rate, this form has been huge for us. And okay. So before we move on, just one last thing. Community cash lights. This is a hat tip to Cash Donda, who runs the Solana calls, the Solana ecosystem calls. Quick check-in. Here's a 1 month chart on Sol. What's your mindset going in? It's been obviously in a couple of ranges here. Last couple of weeks, it's been pretty stable. Sideways market, as they say. What's your mindset? Check in with your mindset as you enter positions. What was your how were you affected by divergence loss? How was your week, basically? Let's drop some W's and L's in the chat. How are people doing? We got like 50 attendees. Did you get some L's or some W's this week? Mixes? Yeah, flat. Got some L's, got some wins. Right on. Yeah, and just, don't judge yourself. Be serene as you're in the market. It's really hectic out there. Um, you know, check in on maybe you could have done better if you'd been smaller size. Maybe you went full in on um, the Uprock launch, something like that. Got burned a couple times. Just recognize that happened. Were you confusing market making with meme YOLOing? So just be aware of your mindset going into this stuff. Cool.
Yeah, that's a
Keep
really
it
good
fun.
point about trying to separate trading from market making. It can be a blurry line at times, so it's difficult to kind of separate the two for sure. So
Yeah, and I mean they're both supposed to be fun, right? So
yeah,
um what the DLM can do is make you improve your percentages by giving you some fees along the way as you're trying to trade these positions.
yeah.
All
And
right.
like, talking about
Yeah,
L's, right? And I know, one
yeah.
thing I'm gonna do is highlight L's. So I was market making in Uprock for a little while. I think might have been Rizop or maybe it was Jay Gills that
UPT, right? UPT.
yeah, UPT had brought to my attention a lower bin step and lower fee pool than the launch pool, and it was getting some pretty good volume because of the lower fee and the lower bin step, and and I was really tight on the range because it wasn't ranging a whole lot. It was in a pretty tight range, and the fees were good. I was getting good fees, but it was trending downwards. And so I was chasing it down and I felt like I was doing pretty good. I felt like I had good fees on it, but I kind of looked at my total value of what it was when I got the airdrop because I was just market making my airdrop tokens. I ended up basically almost breaking even, maybe even losing a little bit, but did print some fees, got some met points along the way, but in total, was not a great win. But I think part of it maybe I wasn't sitting on top of it enough because when you're in a really tight range, you do need to be pretty active about rebalancing and moving it as the price moves down. But I was basically in one bin and I would sit in one bin for a good little period of time, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time. But of course, when you're doing that, it's easy to get distracted, go to another browser window, start doing something else, and then you forget about the position was open, go back and look at it, and oh shoot, I'm like two bins away from where I was before. I need to readjust this thing. Had I been more on top of it, I probably, when it moved one bin, I could have then moved the position down that one bin and captured fees while it was there. So that's the one thing is like when you're in these really tight ranges and you fall out of range, if you don't rebalance quickly, you're losing out on fees, and that's losing profitability. So that was kind of my experience with Uprock. I think I could have probably done better had I been more on top of it and been better about rebalancing when it was shifting from one bin to another.
All right. Enough of the mindset stuff. Let's have some fun. We're in the demo section. Let's see. Did everyone get the? You can scroll up. If you didn't get the submission form, Ryan just posted it again. And the slides the slides will be available on YouTube recording, and then I think we'll probably end up posting them as a package again later on. All right. So let's see. Should we start here for our demo? Or do you want to start with a chart, bird eye or something?
I think this is a good place to start. So,
Let's see.
see,
I think I might need to refresh. Is there a
yeah, on the right,
I thought
the
there was a
right.
refresh button. Oh, there
Yep,
it is right there.
there you go.
Not again.
I don't
I'm
know
just
how
gonna
old
reload it.
that copy is. Let's see if it, because I know there was some. Oh no, it looks like you got a pretty recent one.
Okay, cool. There's some
Uh,
pretty scary messages when you try to
yeah,
refresh it. Like it's gonna overwrite all your spreadsheets. Anyway, all right. Walter. Okay, so scrolling right here.
actually, try
Look at
doing the
all
refresh
these helpful
again
links are
because
great. Okay.
I think actually do the click on refresh dex data.
I have to do the full.
Yeah, yeah, you'll have to if you get that permission thing, then you'll have to.
Okay.
All right,
Don't rug me. Don't
try
rug
it.
me, Geek Lad.
Try it again because it didn't. I don't think it refreshed. Click the refresh dex data
No,
again.
I'm in a Google hasn't verified this app dialog,
Oh,
and
oh, gotcha,
I'm
gotcha.
clicking through the back to safety and saying no, give me
Oh,
danger.
oh, all right.
Go to untitled project, allow.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
we're not
now I'm
seeing all
hitting it
those extra
again.
dialogues.
Yeah, there you go.
And then the filter you have on there, you'll have to reset it. So just unfilter or show all, and then
Oh,
refresh.
whoops. Yeah, yeah. It
What?
says
What?
running script here
Yeah,
still, so
yeah,
I'll wait till that finishes and then.
exactly. Yep.
So just bear with us, folks. It says you may not see it, but it says I've got a pop-up saying running script. Oh, and you can see updating data in there and A1.
Yeah, yeah. We do see the running script.
Okay, cool.
There we go. All
Okay, let
right.
me get
So
this
now, yeah, you got to
filter
redo that
out of
filter.
here. I think I can get it over here, right? Yeah, cool. All right. So heading back. Oh, and then I do the change view.
Yeah, there
Is
you
that
go.
still the best practice?
You could, or if you want to just scan right down the list, you could do that too.
Yeah, let's just do that. I'll do that.
Okay. It's weird. I don't see any links there for rug checks or anything.
Oh yeah, they're not showing up for some of these pairs.
Uh,
Seems like good error
Oh, you
handling
know
though.
what? I think it's because it was filtered when you did the refresh. Um,
Oh,
go,
okay. Should I run it
yeah, try
again?
running the refresh again. Yeah.
What's it doing here?
So
Is it
here
scanning the chain?
it's gonna, no, it's connecting to Deck Screener and
Okay.
the Meteora API. So from the Meteora API, it's grabbing all of the Meteora DLMM markets. And then once it grabs all the market addresses, it passes that along to Deck Screener to grab all the Deck Screener data, which gives you the volume in the last 5 minutes, the last hour, the last 6 hours, and the last 24 hours. And then, of course, from there, we do a bunch of different calculations.
Right. And generate the links. Yep.
Yep, and generate the links. All right, there we go. I think we're good now. Yeah. I figured Pew was going to be at the top. I know
Awesome.
that one's been like a really big printing
Pew
machine.
pew.
Yeah,
I assume it's a laser beam. I don't know.
I don't know. Probably.
Okay, sorry if my sound effects suck. Okay. Yeah, so we got some hefty base fees here. Look at that, that's understandable. And these are all, let's see, sorry to be bouncing around so quickly, folks. Yeah, these are all really high return pools.
You want me to explain
Um,
real quick
they
kind
have
of what
different,
it does?
yeah, I suppose we ought to get into a little more detail. I've been staring at this so much. Yeah, go ahead. You're the
Yeah.
master.
So basically the way this spreadsheet works is, as
Should I
I
go
said,
to the left or
what's that?
should I go to the left or you want me to stay
No, I
here?
think you're okay there. I think you're okay there.
Okay, just joystick me if you need to.
Yeah. So basically, we're getting the data from Deck Screener, right? And for all of the different Meteora DLMMs. And so in column M, as in monkey, you've got the projected 24-hour volume based on the 5-minute volume. So basically, I take the 5-minute volume according to Deck Screener, multiply that by 288, and that would give us, if the volume were to continue as it has been for the next 5 minute, for the past 5 minutes, what it would be over a 24-hour period, right? And then we do the same thing for the 1 hour volume. We multiply that by 24, 6 hour volume, multiply that by 4, and then the 24-hour volume is just the 24-hour volume, right? So you can see the numbers are very different, right? So based on the last 5 minutes, we're projecting only 500,000 on that first row. For based on the past hour, we're projecting 2.2 million, and then 6 hours, 400,000, 24 hours, only 100,000. So we project all of these different 24-hour volumes based on those different time periods. And then we estimate the fees based on what the base fee is, right? So in this case, it's a 1% base fee, and then multiply that by each of the volumes. And then we do like a min and a max, right? So column R, column S. Column R, we have the minimum 24-hour fees to TVL ratio or percent. So that would be based on the 24-hour volume, right? Because our 24-hour volume was the lowest, right? Column P was the lowest projection we had. And then we also have the max fees in column S, and that would be based on the 1 hour projection, right? So you can see in the last hour, there was 2.2 million in volume if we projected that out to 24 hours. So by default, we sort by the min, so that because that's going to give us sort of our most conservative estimate, right? And then we also, we're just displaying the max here. So we can see Pew is probably printing pretty good. And look at what's crazy is it only has $2,000 worth of liquidity. So with $2,000 of liquidity, it's generated, enough volume in the last 5 minutes that if it sustained that for 24 hours, it would generate 500,000 in volume, which is pretty crazy. Maybe click on the deck screener
Which
link.
is unlikely, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, it is pretty unlikely. Um, but maybe let's take a look at the deck screener link on that one.
Hey, George.
Yeah,
I think it'd be really useful if we had some type of metric on here to where you could kind of get like a quick snapshot of how old the token is. I think that would allow people to make a little bit better of like an informed decision. So if, these pairs are generating 1,000%
yeah,
return a day, but you're like, hey, this coin's a few days old and might not be like first day of launch. There might be a little bit more of a risk there versus a coin that's fresh day of launch. There's a lot more volume, a little bit more
yeah,
potential upside.
yeah. You know what? That's a good point. I'll have
Yeah,
to
that
look.
kind of gives you a sense of who your competitors are too. Like if you're trading against bots, you're going to lose, right?
Yeah, I wonder. I'll have to look to see if that data is available, readily available in the index screener. I'm not sure if it is. I don't think it is. So we'd have to find another data source for that. But yeah, if we can find a data source for it and can get it quickly and easily for many, many different tokens, yeah, we could definitely do that. We could get that included. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so let's,
So yeah, as Rizov's guest,
yeah,
we got a new
hasn't been
one
out there too
here.
long. It's a pretty young
Yep.
coin.
Down only, man.
So we have gotten a little bit of a bounce there, maybe finally.
Yeah, someone's trying to catch a falling knife, but that's a 5-minute chart. So
Yeah.
okay, cool. So maybe not Pew. I don't know. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not drawn to that personally,
Okay.
but
All right.
we
No,
could.
let's go with what you like. Let's keep going down the list.
All right. And yeah, that's just my input. I'm good trading with whatever the panel wants.
You know what might be
Didn't
good? Maybe freeze the first column with the token pair name.
Okay, sounds good.
That way.
And data, right?
Actually, if you click and drag, so like in the top left corner, um, yeah, hover right over the right edge of that cell. and you'll get, yeah, so click and drag that. There you go. I think that'll do it. There you go. So now you'll see
Nice. I didn't know that
it
one.
there. Yeah,
Cool.
there you go. I probably should do that by default on that on the spreadsheet.
Oh, can you? That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll update it to do that.
And then let's see here. I'm gonna blow this up so folks can see it easier. And um, we want something with decent projected volumes over at least an hour because we're basically going to trade for an hour. And I think that's probably a decent view there. And then, yeah, and Pew is going off. That's great.
Yeah. And
Okay.
what's interesting is even though the price is trending down, the volume trend is up.
Yeah, totally. Which I guess could be good or bad, right? It could be
Yeah,
folks trying to come in, or it could be folks just getting out of Dodge.
yeah. Oh, somebody just mentioned that they think there's two different pews. That's not
Oh,
surprising.
yeah, this might not differentiate.
Yeah. I mean, I've got the different contract addresses there, so you can if you do the rug check on each one, then you'll know which one it is.
Can't preview does it preview? Oh, you can't see the hatch. No worries. Yeah, and just so folks know, we're gonna do a rug check on whichever one we want to
Yes, for
try
sure.
next. Let's see. I don't know. Should we do Sol? We could do. I mean, basically, it seems like Pew or Pepe. I don't know what Floyd is. Um, check the liquidity really quick. I mean, I
Yeah.
like to have a little more liquidity. Like this one seems reasonable. Number 8, row 8.
Yeah.
You've got a preference in the on the
Do we
attendees.
want
Go ahead
to
and put
pull
it
the
in the
group?
chat.
You want to
Yeah,
pull the group and see
just
who?
throw it in the chat. I say,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Folks want to guide us here. I guess I'd be inclined to do something with at least 15K of volume. Mother Soul still, look at Mother way down on 21st now, but at least it's got 35K of volume. DGen Pew, nice.
Did get a request for Mother Soul as well.
Okay.
Another request for Mother Soul.
Maybe some folks getting shaped a little bit by. I mean, this is pretty decent.
Yeah,
And of course, as you talked about yesterday, as the volumes increase and the liquidity increases, the returns are going to be less volatile.
right.
So, you know, hunting for things with 1,000% return, or um, you can get burned, or you can have a outlier return too. So yeah, it looks like you, Pepe, or Mother.
All right, you know what? I'll do a poll. Let me fire this up here.
Very cool. I'll
So
go to
which token? So we've
the
got
rug check.
Pew, Pepe, or Mother.
Yeah, Floyd, there's only $1,000 of liquidity. Um, yeah, that seems like a good set. Bazinga. Cool. And then let's check out a rug. We'll do a rug check link. Actually been curious about this one because I guess the Iggy Azalea didn't launch this. It was launched by some um,
All right, polls up.
great.
This will be interesting. So we got three choices: Pew, Pepe, or Mother. We'll see what people wanna degen on. Got about half of the answers in. I'm seeing a pretty clear winner so far. Not going to say anything. 60% participation.
You ever get this loop on rug check where it like forgets that you're
Yeah,
active?
it's weird. I don't know why it does that. I
Might
have
just
seen
try
that before.
again. Don't do it to me. Curse it. Hard refresh.
All right, we got 70% participation. Should we go ahead and close it out?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You want to take a guess at our winner?
Mother.
Mother it is.
All
71%.
right. Hey folks, for some reason oh yeah, and it was pretty lopsided too. So Pew Pepe got 15% each, and
Yep,
Mother got 71.
yep. Um, Here, let me take a look. So you're trying to do rug check on Mother?
Yep.
Let's see if it works for
Wish I
me.
could figure that out because
Yeah, it is. It's really annoying. But I
I
do
am
have that problem
definitely
sometimes.
connected.
Okay, I got it. I don't know if I can. You know what? I could do a screen share and post it. Give me a second. Let's see. I wonder if we can dual screen share. Oh no, it's gonna stop the other screen sharing. All right, I'm gonna steal a screen from you for a second.
Okay, fair. We've got about 40 minutes. That should be enough time.
Okay. All right, you guys see my screen?
No. Oh wait.
Should be
I'm
open.
able to see it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, great. All right, so there's our rug check.
Not bad.
Yeah, we got a good rug check. Zero risk.
So we got
From a rug
yeah,
check,
super clean.
from a rug check
Top
perspective.
holders all less than 5%. Uh, 90% locked. Impressive.
Yeah. All right. I'll stop my share and give it back over to you if you want to share again.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Funny thing is, I didn't even have my wallet connected in the browser, and it still pulled up the rug check. I guess because I hadn't looked at
Yeah,
any
maybe it's a
recently.
cookie thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Thanks for the assist. Um, once again, saving the day, Geek Lad, with your tech ninja skills. Cool. Here is Mother. Um, this is a 4 hour, like it's been plateauing a bit. Let's see, let's zoom in a bit here. Do 1 hour. And I'm gonna load DLMM, of course. What am I doing? It's not even loaded yet. Please. Okay. Wow. Waiting for buyers, waiting for stimulus.
No, man, it's looking
Been in a
good.
zombie mode for a little while. I think we could just do a two-sided here, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
No longer trending, at least on a smaller time frame. Of course, you zoom in and it looks a little different. I'm gonna put sometimes it's nice to oops. It is nice to be aware of your context here. So got some upper and lower bars here, just as you zoom in, be aware of these zones. And then we zoom in a bit.
Actually, would
Things
you
look
mind
wider.
zooming back out and maybe
Yeah, no problem.
explain to the folks a little bit why you chose those lines? I think it'd be nice to provide a little bit of a technical
Absolutely.
analysis lesson here for folks.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for that. What am I thinking here? The general idea, let me not be too general. How I approach technical analysis is as a way to set your risk parameters. It's not an indication of the future necessarily. It's just looking at past information from the market. So how can you use that information best? For me, it works like uh, as a way to sort of establish your risk reward ratio. So I try to look for situations where I might get a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, and you can sort of estimate that by looking at previous price action. And so in this case, we've got a very new token. There's not a lot of data. As you have less and less information, the value of technical analysis decreases. You're trying to make decisions based on very little historical information here. So there's like a day of data here that you're trying to draw conclusions from. Probably going to be a lower probability of success. However, you can still take some information away. For instance, we've got a celebrity coin here that Iggy Azalea decided to kind of not take ownership of. That's the wrong word in the trading space, but endorse might be a better word. So zooming in a little bit, get a little more information on the screen. I think she started endorsing it around here early on. Early launchers were probably out of it for a decent percentage of their holdings early. And in some ways, this drop here is pretty healthy because you've got the early folks that promoted it. They've got what is this? 0.0061 here. They're exiting here around a 7 multiple.
And
And
you can if you click the
this is
percent
this is
if you click the percent
distribution.
button on the bottom right, you can actually see the percentages, right? Remember we did that
Yeah,
I think the
yeah,
last
yeah.
time.
Yeah, so this is in my opinion kind of a healthy distribution. So in a lot of cases, like I did not buy. I could have gotten in. I did not. Because in a lot of cases you get to a situation like this and it will give a little more push and then come down. In this case, you can reinterpret that sort of a Bayesian way and say, you know what, this was a bit of a healthy distribution here. We got the early guys out, we distributed it out to a lot of new buyers, and then it excelled beyond the previous high. So that makes me reinterpret this as, instead of early guys dumping and rugging everybody, well, now we've got a much more distributed token that was lifted for some other reason. Either it caught on as a meme, or maybe celebrity coins are taken off again instead of being assigned to the top like they were last cycle. Don't know, but you need to adjust your priors when you see something like this take off beyond the previous highs. Okay, so that's that. And then how do you set a position? Well, we can get into it. We can zoom in a little bit more, but the way I look at it as getting back to my comments about setting risk parameters, you can look at this and say, well, hey, everyone had an opportunity to sell here for 16 hours. They didn't. More people came in and bought. So that tells me, this might be a decent area where you might get some shakeouts, some wicks, as they call them, in these little candlesticks. These long tails are called wicks. You might get a wick down here like this that drops below this range. but you've got a little bit of confidence that it might hold because it did in the past. So that's how I like to think about it. And whether or not it holds or not, nobody knows really, but you can use that to get a little confidence and set your risk parameters. So I can say, I'm gonna get out if it stays underneath this area for very long, because if it's a momentum coin, it's supposed to have momentum. Cool, decent summary.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Okay, cool. And then so let's zoom in a little bit and take a look as we get in a little bit closer. Now we've got these 4-hour kind of ranges to keep an eye on, and I mean it's pretty stable here. I mean, if you get in closer, it's like, I mean, now we could probably, I think now would be a good time to do that percentage check that you were talking about. Um, oh, here it is.
Oh, yeah, right below. Yep, you got it.
Cool. So I'm just gonna get this wick out of here. So I mean, it always depends on what you're. Don't want to do any data crimes here.
Yeah, the percent. Yeah, basically the percent's going to start wherever the leftmost is
Yeah,
on your display screen. So yeah, you can
no
try to get
chart
it.
crimes. No chart crimes. Don't fool yourself, man. There are enough people trying to fool us out there. Let's not fool ourselves. We're our own
Yeah.
worst enemies to some degree. Okay, cool. So, you know, I think that could be our range. What do you think?
I think it looks good.
Okay, so now we've got this information. This is a USD chart. Let's go back and see. Let's go back to Meteora. We'll look at the DLMMs from other. Then we could choose. I think we were specifically looking at a mother soul pair here that captured our attention, right? This is the one with a decent
Yep.
amount of volume
Yep.
and liquidity. Yeah, the 35K one. That's the one that caught my eye anyway. Cool. So we'll go over here and we'll look at another chart for folks who like that stuff, because we were looking at Mother USDC before, but we want to be changing our denominator, our pricing. Shoot, I forget the terms from day one boot camp. What's the denominator?
The quote. So base is
The quote. Thank you.
base
Yeah,
is the one that you're sort of trading. Well, not trading, right? We're
quote
providing
asset.
liquidity.
Quote
Your,
asset.
yeah,
Yeah.
you have your base asset and your quote asset. So most of the time, your quote asset is going to be SOL or USDC.
Okay, zooming in a bit here. And again, we've got this difference in returns. This is our TVL, 24-hour fees, 24-hour fees over TVL percentages. And again, as you look at this, bear in mind that there are going to be different bin steps and different fees. In this case, we've got the same fee with a slight, so people are experimenting with a slightly smaller bin step, add a little volatility, potentially increase the dynamic fees. So let's take a quick look here and zoom again. We can see that at the 80 bin step, we're getting a decent amount of dynamic fees. And then just to pop back out, I'm inclined to do that one. Let's take a quick look at the 100 bin step. And actually we're seeing more dynamic fees on this one. And we could set a higher range, of course, because there's more range with a higher bin step. And however, in this case, because we're running a boot camp and we're not here for very long, we should probably pick a smaller bin step just to give folks a little more entertainment value. What do you what do you think? Go with the smaller bin step, get a little more
Um,
concentration.
I mean, I would look at, we can go back to the to the sheet. Let's see
There was definitely more
which pool that was. What are
liquidity in the big one.
yeah, what are the what's so that's the 80/80. Maybe just go with that one.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, Otto. I wish there was a little bit more of a transparent way to see how, like the routing gets done for pools that have smaller TVL in them. I would love to
Uh,
see some type of UI. Maybe there's like a pool health that we could get going, and it'll be like a yellow. Maybe it's like not optimal, but once it breaks like a certain barrier of TVL, it'll say like green or something. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, one thing you can do is you could look at
TVL,
you
you're
could look at
thinking locked liquidity would be interesting to you?
Yeah, because that's probably going to be what determines a lot of the routing on Jupiter, right? Like those
Oh,
smaller
okay.
pools might be able to get you a better price, but since there's just a wee bit of, liquidity locked in, Jupe might just kind of ignore it and go with the bigger and slightly fill you at a higher fee, base fee.
yeah, one thing you can do
Good
is you can
point.
look at the
Yeah.
bird eye. Because bird eye will actually show you where the transactions are coming from. So
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
if you click
Let's
on the
do that
bird eye
next.
link, yeah, you can see
Yeah,
the
let's do that
transaction.
next.
Yeah.
Cool. So here we are. We've got the right denominator. We got the denominator. We've got the pricing asset on the right side, and then we'll go into, and this is what I've kind of partial to Gecko terminal. Is that all right? It'll show
Yeah,
us
yeah,
where the trades
I
are
don't
coming
think
from too, right?
I don't think it tells you the source on the transaction
Oh, it
log.
doesn't? I thought they
Uh,
added that. Let's see. Oh no, you're right. Yeah.
yeah.
It gives you the from, but not
Yeah, it doesn't tell you
right. We'll
what
look at both.
market.
Let's look at the other one too. Okay. Oh, and it's 9:30, so we need to get rolling here. So let this thing run. We can always poke around with the tools more later. And then the bird eye, just so folks know, this is what GeekLad was talking about. It'll tell you the source and the platform here. You can see you can get a quick scan of the routing there, and then you can filter it by where the whales are coming from and so on. But the reason I like Gecko terminal is they make it super easy to flip your price asset, your quote asset, excuse me. And so here we are, and this will make it a lot easier for us to set up our range. Just for context, I previously put these lines in on the other chart. I believe we're somewhere around here. For our ranges. Now let's zoom back in. Cool. So 3052, 307, 37 or 38. So going back to Meteora and bringing up my wallet. My hands aren't working very well. There we go. All right. Sorry, folks. I'm going to need to zoom out a little bit so we can get a little more screen real estate. Okay. Yeah, that's our one. Here's our 88 that was showing up on the screener, not deck screener, the spreadsheet. We're going to need to pick up some SOL unless we do a one-sider. kind of runs against what we were talking about before, which is that it was ranging. And then like with a new token, with a range like this, I think it's unlikely that we'll be able to predict the micro movements at a 15-minute chart level. So I say just a wide range in this situation. What do you think, Jorge?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, geek led.
that's all right. Yeah, yeah, I think going wide is the way to go. I mean, especially with how much it ranges, right? I mean, when we look at the percentage,
Yeah,
it's moving quite a bit. So yeah,
a wide is heavy metal in the chat still. He's good at this stuff too. Let's just go wide. Cool. And let's see, let's get our ratio. Let's say we were going to drop 0.2 in, and our range is going to be, that was our range, wasn't it? 0.00, that was a little tighter. 0.0038 to 0.005. Call it 0.005. Yeah, that looks good. 3.8 to 5. And then we're going to need some other. I'm just using the Jupyter terminal here. Folks don't know. I'm going to swap out some Sol for some mother. Cool, I got you, Heavy Metal. Thank you. No worries. We're going to go with this one. Do I want to do that much? Let's do 2.5. How much is that going to give us? Oh, okay. Yeah, we're a little lopsided. Let's do oh, but then we'll need less Sol too. So I don't know, 0.3.
yeah,
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see what the defaults give us. I mean, if any attendees are coming from another ecosystem and watching the demo, this piece of Solana just continues to amaze me. As if I don't know, I have a little bit of a civil engineering background. It's like whenever I turn on the faucet and there's clean running drinkable water coming out of it, I'm blown away. So like this kind of stuff is like drinking cold water out of the tap. It's like
yeah. No, it's awesome.
it's a
It's really
breath of
impressive.
fresh air, to say the least. Okay, so here's Iggy, and you can see prices moved a little bit. Let's see what happens. And therefore our ratio has changed here because we had previously set 0.2 and it was about 800 mother. But let's see what happens here. See if we've got enough. Yeah, we've got plenty. We're gonna drop that in this area here. Uh-oh. Often when this happens, the ranges disappear. Don't be alarmed. I might have to reset the ranges, but I never signed something where I can't see the simulation. So we're at 0.0038 for 0.0005. Gonna max this. Tighten up our range. Give it another try here. Still got plenty of both assets. Gonna do our deposit again. Huh. Gonna do a refresh here and just we are. Oh, things are moving here. Did we? Nah, let's stay with it. Let's see what happens. There we go.
And while we're waiting for that, just to
This
so
is
we
like
have
my
gotten a
favorite. I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry.
Let me just a quick shout out here is I think Rizov's called this is like my favorite new feature. Rizov's called it out yesterday, but this is
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah, I love
Anyway,
it.
what were you gonna say?
Yeah, so we've gotten a number of questions about the submission for graduation and
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
yeah, so people are asking about, one thing is yes, it has to be a transaction you submit, today or after today. We don't want a
Yeah.
transaction that you submitted a month ago, a day ago. And then the other thing is, the other question that we're getting is, how long do they have to submit the transaction? So we're going to keep that form open for about a week. So it doesn't have to be today. If you can do it today, great. If you don't get a chance to do it today and you want to do it tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, not a problem. And or if you open a position today and you're totally unprofitable and you close it out, that's fine. Don't submit that one. Make sure it is a profitable position so you can do it. You have up to about a week to submit it, so no hurry to get it done today.
Could have brought this up when you were talking about it. And again, this is being recorded. It'll be available on Twitter as well as YouTube if you need it in with foreign language subtitles. That's sort of an American bias thing to say, foreign language substitute subtitles. I suppose English is the most widely used language in the globe at this point, isn't it? Is it still? It used to be.
I don't know. It's a good question.
I
Probably.
mean,
Well, there's
with
overlap,
India
right?
and China making up uh,
Yeah,
30+% of the globe, there's
yeah,
probably some competition there, but they are really good about speaking English. So
right. Yeah, because there's overlap because a lot of them are, do speak English. And then India, there's
yeah,
so many different languages and dialects there. It's quite fragmented also. I mean, many do speak, a lot of people do speak Hindi, but there's a lot of other languages too.
I love how global crypto is.
Yeah, it's awesome. It really is.
Cool. We're getting a little bounce here on the 15-minute chart. Let's take another look at our position. Hopefully folks are following along or keeping an eye out like we've exchanged. And again, as discussed on day one, people are using your capital that you've put into this liquidity pool to make trades, and you don't have to facilitate every single trade. Like you've probably seen trading places or movies of how the pits used to look back in the 80s and 90s, even with people yelling at each other for making orders. That's all electronic now, and people are just using your capital to exchange mother for soul and soul for mother on chain. We're getting a little activity. Okay. Well, we'll let this grind. Let's see. Were there, I can bring up the Discord if we want to talk about some of that stuff. Um, or we can potentially end early or see how this goes. I wanted to bring up Alex's tool so we can mess around with that too. Any directions you guys want to go in? Sometimes it can be a little boring to just watch the DLMM do its
Yeah.
thing, although I find it mesmerizing too. So
Maybe one thing you can do is pull up your initial transaction.
yeah, sounds good.
Just so that we can show
Oopsie, I
the
don't need to do
difference
that.
compared
My
of
bad.
what you put into what the current, distribution is, like your current,
Yeah, really good call out. And actually, I don't think we covered this in day one, but so you'll need to do this if you've never done this before, trainees. You'll need to come into your wallet and go to the activity section and find the transaction. And plenty of ways to do that. There's pop-ups that show it when you do close out positions and stuff. But if you've already lost it, you can always go back in here, either Phantom or Backpack. All the wallets have a similar type of feature. And you go into, was it this one? Yeah, so here you can see I did a swap and then I deposited my mother. I'm not sure what.
why would you do that to your mother? That's not very nice.
I deposited her at the old folks home. Yeah. Oh, this is somebody giving me crypto.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is our guy. Yeah,
Yep, there
there
you
it
go.
is. And then you'll see a record of what you did. You'll see a map after the fact of the transactions that actually did occur. I mean, a lot of technical detail here. This is the number you need, the signature. This is the transaction ID that happened on the Solana blockchain. So I'll copy that.
And then
And
actually the other thing I want to call out here real quick, Otto,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
please.
is note how much Otto put into this position, right? So he put 721.49 mother and 0.643 something soul. And we go back and look at the position on Meteora where it is now, it's not going to be the same, right? So see, he has a little bit less mother and a little bit more soul because of the price action that's happening. And that's impermanent loss, right? And it's happening all the time. Impermanent loss doesn't happen when you close a position. It's all happening all the time, right? So he's printing fees
That's
and
why it's impermanent.
exactly, that's why it's impermanent. He's printing fees and his ratio of assets is changing according to how the price is moving.
Hey there, Otto. I would also like to see an example. What if I wanted to enter in on a one-sided position and essentially use DLMM to DCA a sell or an entry?
Yeah. So we could do that with this pair. And just to expand on what Rizops is talking about. So if we go back here to the chart of mother, let's say DCA stands for dollar cost averaging. And so what he's saying is, I want to take a position in mother, add some inventory for that token. And so I want to buy it. If it's one-sided, he's saying, I want to buy it at this price or lower. So I would put in a position for buying mother with soul beneath the current price. And because he is interested in mother, that means he wants to accumulate it. So what he would do is, he wants price to go down because then he's getting the asset he wants at a discount. And so he would probably end up putting a position under the market and then closing that position when it gets to have accumulated a decent whatever amount of mother that he wants to buy. And we can simulate that here. Because of the time, I probably won't actually enter the position, but you saw Geeklad do this by turning off autofill and just entering the soul side. So that's one thing you can do is you can just add soul, and you can see here it places the bins underneath the current bid ask price there. And then as the price of mother comes down, you'll be accumulating more mother and giving up your soul for it. And then if price goes below your range, now you've accumulated all the mother that you wanted. And so basically you're buying mother at a discount. Another way you can do that is to just if you come in here, you would have come into an empty thing. We'll reset price, and you can set your range below. So turning off autofill allows you to later come in and add in a wider range should you want to. Or you can just come in here and say, oh, well, the current price is around 0.41. I'm just going to go ahead and set my range there and keep things a little tidier in my Meteor interface. I feel like there was another part to your question, dollar cost averaging. So exiting, yeah. So the other way would be I've accumulated my inventory here. I already have Mother, and I'm going to reset this. So you would, here's our existing position. Let's say I like this bin step and I like this base range, base fee. I have accumulated. So let's say I am one of these folks here, bought down here, and I'm happy with my purchase. I've gotten a double. I came in around 2 to the -4, and I've already got a double. I want to say exit out, similar to the example we went through earlier today. Well, in that case, you would kind of do the opposite. So you've got Mother. You're going to exit at this price or higher. So in fact, I have some Mother here. So I'm going to go in, and I can either just turn off autofill and reset this, in which case I'm just using Meteora to tell me what the upper range is. And if I'm feeling a little antsy and I want to get out quickly because this is a fast moving asset, I could even tighten this up. And now you're exiting in a nice tight range here. And you just go ahead and admit that you're probably not going to want anything down there anyway. And you're just going to set up an exit range. And now as Mother moons, that seems like a funny combination of words there.
Yeah.
Especially considering this asset's about Azalea's hind parts. As Mother moons, we're going to be getting out into Soul. Yeah. So thanks for tying that back together with some of the earlier stuff results. Did
Yeah, why
that
don't
cover
you
it?
go ahead? Why don't you go ahead and open that position because you do have Mother there.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing is you'll be tying up, 0.06 sold for the rent, but that's okay.
Okay. Executing transaction. And again, here's a record of that transaction. So if you do catch it before it disappears and you just want to drop it in, then you're good. All right. Let's see, about 5 minutes to go here. Did a decent job of starting on time today, so I'll probably end on time. Checking in. Like we're getting a little bit of volume here. Given there's other pools with lower bin steps, and we have such a small time window to trade, wouldn't expect a ton of volume here. Yeah, so here's one that's competing with us. Oh, actually, there's no lock there, so maybe they aren't. Okay, yeah, I guess we are getting a decent amount of the volume. I mean, here's someone setting up a $20 pool.
I actually got some volume in it. Amazing.
Yeah,
It's probably arbitrage. Probably not. I don't think Jupiter will be routing orders to that.
yeah, this is permissionless, so they can use the tech. All right. Cool, let's go ahead and close this out. See what we did. That sound good?
Sure, do it.
Maybe we'll demo some impermanent loss here. This will be our, oops, that's not the one.
Yeah, demo the yellow, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's say, let's go back to the chart just to get our bearings again. So hey, we've got a little bit of a series of, lower highs. Looks like maybe it wants to test the lower end of the range. Or maybe you're just done with your coffee break. You want to get out. So let's get out. We're going to withdraw all of it and our fees and close the position. So you can just withdraw the liquidity, or you can get out and close the position. If you close the position, it'll claim your fees as well.
And while we're waiting for that, there's a really good question in the chat, and I don't know if we showed it or not, but somebody's asking how we can see a list of pools that Jupe is using. Um, Unfortunately, I don't know there's an easy way to do that, but one thing you can do to see if a specific pool is using is getting orders routed to it from Jupiter is to look at the transaction log on Bird Eye. So if you want to, Otto, if you want to go back to that, um, to your Meteora there, or actually you got a Bird Eye chart up right there. But yeah, let's,
Yeah.
is this for everything or for specific market?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So if you click the little drop down there on where it says Mother USDC, so here you can see all the different pools that are trading Mother. And yeah, let's just pick one. Let's look at that one.
Let's see. Ours had
Or
like,
see if you can find yours. This is the one thing that's a little bit difficult to see, figure out which one is which. You have to kind of try to figure it out by volume. But you could go back to your Meteora page and then just click on the Bird Eye link there. It's a lot of liquidity.
yeah, it's doing well.
But you know what? Go back to your pool. Yeah, and then click the Bird Eye link there, and that'll take you specifically to that market. So then down at the bottom here, we've got a transaction log where we've got, recent trades. And then all the way on the right side of that table, you'll see the source. So you can see, actually scroll that table more to the right. Or yeah, maybe get rid of that. Yeah, so you see the little Jupiter icon on platform. That indicates that Jupiter orders are getting routed through this market.
All right. And to Alex, this should be our transaction. Taking the L.
There you go. You got an L.
Yeah.
Sharing,
But we got
sharing.
120 points.
Yep. Not bad.
All right. Yeah. I think we'll call it here. Thanks everybody for attending. Hope you learned something, add it to your toolkit. We had a great time teaching this boot camp. There'll be another one, but they're not regularly scheduled. And please take a moment and thank the rest of the panel, the boot camp team, Ryan, Youssef, Rizos, myself, and Geeklight, and of course Crip Crip. Haven't seen him for a little bit. Shout out Crip Crip, and hope to see you in the Discord. Any closing thoughts you got?
No, I think it was good. It's
Right.
nice to share an L as well as the W's, right? Showing that this thing is not all you know, candy and rainbows. Sometimes you do lose. So, but
Yeah, and I think sorry sorry the slides were more dense this time. We didn't leave quite as much time for practice. Hopefully folks got enough out of it though.
yeah,
I think we probably would have bounced back if we'd stayed a little longer, but yeah.
yeah. All right.
Yeah, I just want to say
Cool.
one last thing. Everybody,
please.
the learning isn't just ending today. Feel free to come by the Discord. We have a very active community. There's a lot of people helping out and answering questions. So, if something's not making sense, come and ask, and we'll definitely get it, cleared up for you. Thank you, guys.
Have a great day, everybody. Or
See you
night.
guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Cheers.